1, 2, 3, funk it.
My darling, I love you, 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 I love you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I am your host, DJMaverick. Today, we have the iconic, the one and only Rogelio Almeida. Welcome to the Maverick Podcast.
This guy, man.
How's it going?
¿Dónde están los aplausos de atrás? Hey.
We'll add them in post.
No, it's good. There you go.
There we go.
Everybody's clapping in the background.
Yeah. Estaban dormidos. They were asleep.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me, man. It's great seeing you again.
Absolutely.
Last time we did this, it was during the pandemic.
Yeah, you remember? A little bit different. I feel like now being in person, it's a whole different vibe. It's better, right?
The studio, man. Congrats to you and Omar, Naye, like the whole, crew in the background. I mean, this is an amazing studio, man. It's
we're
happening.
having fun. Yeah, we're trying to make it happen.
No,
this
man.
is where the magic happens. So welcome.
Yes, no, thank you.
I'd say maybe for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, just give us your little elevator pitch when people ask you, hey, what do you do?
I'm a filmmaker in progress. I've been doing films for the past 15, 16 years. But I currently work at UCO. I do multimedia production in there. And I've been there for almost 8 years. So the film thing is kind of like one of my passion projects. I've been doing that, on the side. And, I do TV commercials, music videos, photography, but film is definitely where my passion, it's at.
Yeah, you're super humble because we recently had Lance McDaniel and he gave like super high praises of you. He was like, man, Rogelio is a man. And he was like even talking about how you're a director that's real technical, right? So that's something that you do that is a little bit different from other directors, that you're actually manning the camera, the settings, like all that, right?
It's funny that you asked that. It's true. I'm more of a technical director. There's definitely the creative aspects of directing a film and working with the actors. But I started my film career behind the camera, and I kind of got pulled into directing because there was nobody else to direct. So I kind of had to be doing everything all at once, directing, doing the camera work, the lighting, and sometimes even the sound. So it's kind of when you're like one man band, you put on all the hats, producer, director, you have to do it all. And so and even working with Lance, he was so kind to mentor me through the years and to help me get started, with the film festival with OKCine Latino. So he's definitely been a big part of Cine Latino throughout all these years, and he's officially our padrino. So
shout out to Lance. He said, "I've got the Padrino Award, the Godfather Award." Yeah. That's like the super coolest award, right?
Yeah, that's our highest award.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I want to thank you once again for being on the podcast. This is going to be how many years already with the Cine Latino?
So this is going to be our ninth year. We started back in 2014. And it's been a blast. I mean, we started, back with Omar and Jorge and Brenda and everybody at Tango, back in 2014. We started at the basement of El Nacional.
Wow.
We had about maybe like 10 films.
Yeah.
And I remember we also had the Argot playing for the first time there, the basement. And it was a magical night. It was very nice to finally have a film festival for Latinos, for Hispanics, to be able to see and watch films where they can feel represented and feel, that they have a voice, that they have a platform, that we can give them a platform for their films to be seen by the audiences.
Yeah, and nowadays, I mean, it's grown. You get submissions from all over, right? So maybe mention some of the submissions you got lined up for this year. I'm sure you got them from all over the world, so let us know.
It's funny. I was just talking to my wife, and this is the first time, over the years that we've received the most feature films from.
Congratulations.
It's definitely one of the best years we had, over 80 films that we received, and from Puerto Rico, from Brazil, from Spain, from Argentina. We got some from Panama, of course, Mexico and the United States, from Oklahoma. We even got some films from Oklahoma. So it's been definitely really fun to see all of the films. I have to see everything. I see everything. Me and my wife, we both sit down and watch every film.
So every submission, you sit down and review every single one.
Yeah, short films, documentaries, and feature films. and it's been amazing. Like the films that we've gotten this year, that are like top notch, and we have a panel of 10 different judges. So they all have to see their films. We assign different films to different judges, and they see every film. They rate them, quality, production, creative, directing, acting, sound, music, writing, and so they got all these different categories that they have to rate.
Wow. So is there a threshold, like you get X number of submissions, but only a certain number can make the cut? Like, tell us a little bit about the criteria that goes behind that.
That's when I put on my programming hat, and a programmer at a film festival has to make the hard decision to, which films get into the festival as an official selection. That's when you see all the films and you have the little laurels and it says, Sundance Film Festival official selection.
Right.
That's when a film makes it into a film festival. And so in our festival, it takes, all of the ratings from the judges that meet the minimum criteria to be able to get into the next round. So we have 2 rounds, and the first round is we all watch the films, we rate them, and then the second round we tally up all of the ratings, and then we come up with the numbers. We have an X amount of short films that we can accept to the festival, and then X amount of feature films and documentaries.
Okay.
So
is it like a blind rating system? Like, how do you avoid one judge sort of influencing the other judge?
So
like,
the rating, they can't see the ratings.
They can't see it.
They can't see the ratings.
Okay.
I'm the only one that can see everything.
There we go.
And so they don't know what the other judge is rating. So I kind of go in there, and if I have a film that's that has a better rating on the directing side, or maybe the writing it's a little lower, then I have to make like an executive decision to see, okay, this film, let's look at the next level of quality, the content, the story. Does it meet the festival's mission? Because our mission is to be able to have the films, Latino films made by Latinos. Was this made by a Latino director? Was it made, with Latino actors? Was it made with Latino editors? The music was edited, done by Latino musicians.
Okay.
So
what about budget? Is it have to be like under a certain budget, or if I'm like, the super high producer and I've got all kinds of budget, can I submit my film too?
You can still do it.
Really?
Yeah. Because we got films that, no joke, we got a film from Panama that was the official submission from Panama to the Oscars.
Wow.
And that film, obviously, is high quality. It meets all the criteria, acting, directing, the photography, it's amazing. And the budget, of course, is like really, really high.
Yeah.
But then we have another film from Mexico who's like very low budget, but the story is gripping. It's very true and honest. And so, you have to come in and look at the judges' ratings and then make a decision, which film is going to make it. We also look at the length. If it's too long, if it's over 2 hours, unfortunately, our films, we try to keep them around the 90 to 100-minute mark.
Got it. Okay. Well, that just speaks to your platform, right? That you could have a low budget and then a super professional, like you said, submitted to the Oscars. To have the platform where both of those have like an equal playing field, I mean, that's amazing. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, no, and it's all, to the help of all the volunteer judges. They come in and they're willing to sit down and watch hours and hours of, films.
Yeah. So tell us about this year. Give us the details. When is it going to happen? Where is it going to happen? Where do people get tickets? Tell us all the details.
So to get tickets, well, the festival is going to be March 4th and 5th. This is the first time we're doing it on a Saturday. And it's going to be at the Yale Theater on the 4th. We do a red carpet event with the background, and we have music, and it's an amazing venue. If you guys haven't seen the Yale Theater, it's an amazing renovated.
Lots of history.
Lots of history. It used to be a movie theater.
Yeah,
and they renovated it, and now they rent it out for events. They do music. They do festivals. They do cultural stuff. They rent it out for weddings and quinceañeras, and so it's a really amazing place. Very historical. It has a lot of history. It still has one of the old projectors that they used to project. The old films. 35 millimeter films. So it's I think that venue just kind of pairs very well with the festival.
Yeah, even the architecture is kind of like Art Deco. It has sort of like the big sign up in the front and everything. It's a really cool building.
The furniture and everything. So that's gonna be March 4th. And the tickets are going to be going on sale pretty soon, and they're going to be $20.
Okay.
And of course, this helps, to promote, the festival and all the programs that we have, the educational programs that we have within the festival.
Yeah.
And then March 5th, we're going to do it at the Capitol Hill Library. and that's going to be completely free.
Okay.
So that's open and free to the public.
Okay. And what about schedule wise? Tell me maybe the programming for the 4th versus the 5th. What can I expect if I go to those
on
days?
the 4th, we usually have a shorts program that plays at the beginning. And then we also have short films from the actual Film Institute that we have. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. The Film Institute, it's about 15 to 20 students. In the past, this year, we actually got 30 students. So it's going to be our biggest group yet.
That's awesome.
And so we're probably going to have to do 2 short films, 2 groups. And our plan is obviously to have their film made before the festival so that we can premiere their film at the festival.
Okay.
And that's going to be on the 4th. And then on the 5th, it's going to be more like feature film, documentary. So it's going to be more like we're going to have educational side, with documentaries and another, screening room. We're going to have 2 screening rooms in the library. The first one is going to be more like documentaries, and the second one is going to be more like feature films. So we're going to have a little bit of both.
2 important questions. Family event, it's open to anybody.
Yep.
And number 2, can I expect snacks?
There will be snacks.
Yeah.
There will be popcorn and drinks.
All right.
Coke products.
There we go. Very cool. So tell me a little bit, about, I don't know if you can sort of like speak to any of the submissions or a sneak peek of any of the titles that you're going to be featuring.
So we can't talk about official selections yet. Because
when is that going to happen?
That's going to happen here in the next few weeks.
Okay.
We're going to have, I think around February 15, that's when we announce the official selection, like who makes it into the festival.
We won't say they're going to make the cut, but maybe these are some of the submissions that you received so far.
Yeah, so some of the submissions that we received so far are an amazing feature film that we received from Mexico about a couple of brothers who basically come into this situation, where there's a dog that was left unattended, by the owner. And so they have to go through all the struggles, to try to save this dog who's dying, and the owner is not around, so they have to go out of their way to save this dog. And so it's a very coming of age story, but it's heartbreaking too because it's in Mexico. It's not everything is pretty down there. So it shows you the beautiful things, but also the harsh of reality. So
okay. I think the film industry is changing altogether, right? Like I'm not this old, but I've read on the internet that back in the day, people used to use like point and shoot cameras to shoot videos and pictures, right? Because that was like the best quality. But now, even with the cell phone, an iPhone, if someone has a creative idea, a kid watching now can create a whole movie, publish it, put it out there for people to watch, right?
Absolutely.
Let's geek out about the gear, right? Because a lot of people want like the best gear. They always like want to buy the latest, greatest gear. But tell me, if you had to start as a kid right now, what would you start with?
You don't have to get the most expensive gear. Honestly, what you have in your pocket, your cell phone, I think that's more than enough.
Yeah.
And a good story. It starts with a good story. If you look at all the films, all the big major films that always been nominated or that win Oscars, is because they have a true story, something that people can relate to, or something that really has that emotional drive, that you can get into. So it starts with the story, and so of course, the gear, you can get a cell phone, you can get a point and shoot camera. It doesn't matter. Nowadays, students have access to all this technology, either school, libraries, or they can ask a friend.
Yeah. You can even edit on your cell phone now.
Yeah, you can edit on your phone.
There, right?
There's so many apps that you can do to edit amazing videos. Now your phones are shooting in 4K, some phones even shooting 8K.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we were talking about on the iPad Pro, you can get DaVinci now.
You can get DaVinci Resolve now on the new iPads. And DaVinci Resolve, of course, is one of the most used software editing programs for color correcting in Hollywood.
Wow.
And now it's at
on an
the
iPad.
hand on an iPad. I mean, anybody can get it now.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good tool, and it's free.
Okay.
That's the most important thing. It's free. And of course, you want to learn how to make a film. YouTube is your best friend. It's like called a YouTube University.
Yeah.
You can, learn how to make films, how to edit, how to shoot, how to light a scene. There's so many videos and so many channels that teach you how to do, the basic. But once you learn the technical side of things, then you have to focus on the story. The story is it's key.
That's key.
Exactly.
Okay. But I think what you're doing with the Institute takes it a step further, because then you sort of break down all the different aspects of movie making, right? Where you got sound, you've got lighting, you've got the editors. So tell us a little bit about the Institute and what can students expect? Have they already submitted? I guess they already know who's in, that sort of thing.
That's a great question. So the Film Institute, this is our 7th year.
Wow,
It's our
congrats.
7th year. Thank you. We started at the old Capitol Hill OKCine Center, which it was in a church up in the 2nd floor. And we crammed in like 15 students, and we actually made 2 short films the first few years.
Yeah.
And between Victor Caballero, my co-instructor and great friend, we kind of separated the groups, and we did 2 short films. It was intense. But it was amazing at the same time. Being able to collab with all these young minds and trying to work on their magic.
Yeah. So the kids show up and they don't have an idea or anything. They just show up day one, and you take it sort of from the initial step all the way to the final product.
To the final product. Yeah. So let me break it down. So the Film Institute, we do it over 4 Saturdays. So we have the first Saturday, actually, it's coming pretty soon, and we actually do a sign up a few months before, and it closed down January 18, I believe. And so this year we registered 30 students.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to have all 30 students throughout the entire program. Sometimes, we have some students that, they come in and they don't come to the second class, or maybe they don't come to the first class, but then they come in for the second class. So after the second class, we usually kind of have our field, pretty planned out, and we kind of see where things are going. But the first day, we usually focus on cinematography, which is key, at least for me, coming from a technical background.
This is like your favorite part.
Yes.
This is your jam, right?
Yes, camera gear, lenses, lights, color correction, all that things that you can do before, when you're filming. And so we have also amazing guest instructors. We have Jonathan Galloso and Eduardo Martinez who come in, and they bring all of their knowledge on how to, and all their gear. They have a lot of gear too. So
So you provide all the gear.
Yeah.
That's very important too, right?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, like you said, maybe you don't have the funds or even like the exposure or whatever to know what to get, but you're providing the gear and the knowledge of how to use that gear.
Yeah.
So that's key.
And they're really kind because they bring all their gear, and they spend like about 2 hours with the students, and we talk about the things that they can do, the things that they come up with, the different tricks and ideas that they can come up every time they're filming. So there's a line that usually when we have the students come in, we kind of, not a line, but it's more like, because there's some students that they come from Metro Tech and OCCC. So some students already have some knowledge.
Okay.
And so there's some students that have zero knowledge, and then some students that may have some experience already. So we kind of separate them, we kind of group them so that we have the students, that have a little bit more knowledge coming with the more inexperienced students, so that they can kind of help them out.
And do they all get exposure to the different sort of roles of filmmaking, or does somebody say, I want to be the camera guy, I want to be the director, or does everybody get to participate in each of the roles?
When everybody comes in, we ask the question, who wants to be a director, who wants to be a writer, who wants to be an actor, right? So we kind of identify everybody's I guess wants, right, what they want to be, their passion,
right?
exactly. But throughout the program, we tend to find out that a lot of the students who wanted to be maybe a director, they also want to be behind the camera, or they want to be editing, or they want to do music. So a lot of that's one of the beautiful things about the program, is that they learn, the other fields, everything that's available to them. All the tools that a film it's required to be made.
Yeah, and why not take advantage of that, right? Like, you have an opportunity to get exposure to all these roles. Might as well understand, because even if you're not passionate about editing, at least you understand what it takes to do it, and you'll have appreciation. And maybe if you're a director, you're thinking that ahead of time. Okay, I want to take this shot, I want to edit this way. So I think it gets your wheel spinning. Better
absolutely.
Prepares you, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then on the second day, we focus more a little bit on the writing. The writing and the story, and then we kind of divide them up, and then we pretty much have them come up with their own story.
Okay.
They're the ones who write the story and the script on their own. And then on the third day, that's when we film. And that's one of the most fun days for the students, because that's when they actually get to come out with their own, story, and they put it on, like on display, with their actors. Oh, because they also have to be the actors.
Let's talk about that. So how do you go about the talent, right? Because you have to have actresses, actors.
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
So we do like a improv casting on day 2.
Okay.
So at the end of day 2, we pretty much, once they come up with their story or their idea, we kind of have them do like a improvised casting with them, like with their students, and so they come up with their own characters and ideas, and so that's kind of, we identify who wants to be an actor
within the same group, or can they sort of nominate some of their peers or some of their schoolmates? How does that go?
So usually it's between them, but let's say they have a scene with they need the parents, so then we need to cast, we ask them like, who in your family would like to be part of this program, and so they call out to their friends or their parents, or sometimes we even have teachers or schools that that we have to go in and film. So we've been doing this for 7 years.
Wow.
And every time I can be more than thankful to everybody who's helped us, because they provide homes, they provide their time and spaces for us to go in there and film with the students.
Because you go to different locations, so that's another piece, right? Figuring out where you're going to take the kids to shoot the actual place, if they need a building or if they need a house or whatever that the script requires, right?
Exactly. And we have the students do that as well.
Okay.
So they also become location managers.
That's cool.
And also they become producers at the same time, because they're looking for locations. They're looking for props. What are we going to need? Like there was one time we filmed a quinceañera story, a short film about a quinceañera not being able to have her quince because of COVID. So they have to get the dress, they have to get the crown, they have to get all the all the gear that's needed for a quinceañera. And of course we didn't shot the quinceañera, we didn't film, but it was still really awesome to be able to see the students go out of their way to get all these props and find the locations.
That's cool.
Find the parents, and then we filmed.
That's cool. And then sort of at the end, this product that they worked so hard, it gets to get displayed at the festival, right?
So then the 4th day, let me...
Oh, we're still...
so there's a 4th day,
okay.
And that's where we edit the film.
Okay.
And thanks to Oklahoma City University, down on 23rd Street, we've been able to work with amazing professors, editing professors, that they have an editing lab with Final Cut Pro. We have about 20 editing stations, IMAX, loaded with Final Cut Pro, and they've been amazing. Like for the past 5 years, they've been letting us go in there and take our students, and we edit their film basically in one day, in 5-6 hours.
Okay. And they sort of walk them through the process of like, this is how you edit.
You should come out, man. It's amazing, because they tell you from the beginning, this is where you open Final Cut. This is where you create a program. This is where you create, a scene. And this is where you cut shortcuts and all that.
Do they teach them about file management? That's one of the things I'm guilty. Don't name it just file 1, file 2. Like be more descriptive so you can sort of figure out where your layout, your files, your folders. That's key too. Yeah,
management of your files is key, especially if you're going to be an editor, or even, just a photographer, or anything with media, with lots of media, because you have a lot of media files.
Yeah. What about the sort of soundtrack for the movies? How does that happen?
So we also have, and day 2, we also have a guest instructor, Benji Rodriguez, who's also been a nominated, composer and musician, well-known, recognized here in Oklahoma City. He also produces a lot of Christian music, and he's done a lot of our films as well. And so we invite him over, and he comes in, he brings his gear, and he gives us a master class on composers, from John Williams to all of the great ones, Hans Zimmer. And he, the students get basically like a whole, class on how to improvise, and create, this amazing music for their short film.
Cool. So he brings actual instruments and lays down sort of sounds and everything for the movie.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then of course, the students get to, play with that as well. So.
Yeah. What about sound effects? Do you do like old school sound effect, like for people walking and stuff like that?
Foley. Sometimes we do Foley. It's hard sometimes because with the time we only have 4 days. To cram everything in 4 days is kind of hard, but we do teach them that there's this art form called Foley, where you can go in there and also do ADR, which is with voices. Sometimes in a lot of films they record a film and it was very noisy out in the location.
True.
They have to come out to the studio or sometimes somebody's apartment, and they have to re-record their voices and the dialogues.
Yeah. Okay. So we're there. We're in the editing process. What's the next step after that? Is there revisions? Do you get the director involved? Like, what's the next step after that?
So obviously all the students get to see their film, and they get to they give out notes to each other and be like, oh, we like this, we don't like that. So they kind of re-edit it.
Okay.
And then we have to get really, really fast because we have to present it at the festival. So
Yeah.
on March 4th. So basically, they only have like about 2 weeks. Less
No
than 2 weeks,
pressure.
no pressure.
But that sort of gives them some real world exposure. Sometimes you're going to have deadlines that you have to meet, right?
Real world, yes.
Yeah.
We like to keep it like that. Real world, that's how it is in real life. Especially like if you're making a film with, like it could be 10 people, it could be 100 people. Who knows? But you have to meet those deadlines.
Have you ever had a procrastinator that's like editing the night of and they're trying to rush, trying to make that deadline?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. But a lot of students that usually, when they come in, they like to take their time, and sometimes we have to come in there and kind of give a little pressure for them to like, hey, we gotta finish this. We gotta make sure that we get at least a first rough cut, by the end of the day. So
that's very cool. So pretty much, I think it sounds like this school is already locked down of who is going to be the participants, right? But maybe for next year, where can people look that up and sort of like get ahead of the ball so they can get their submission in time for the next one?
They can find us obviously on social media. We're everywhere. We're on Instagram at OKCine Latino and also on Facebook, OKCine Latino. And that's where we post all of our updates, when we're signing up for the film program, where we get updates for the festival as well. That's where they can find us. Everything's on Facebook and everything's on Instagram.
Okay. How about yourself? Are you working on any project? Or
so right now we wrapped not right now, but last year we wrapped our latest short film with my good friend Victor.
Okay.
And that one's already going out to the film festival circuit, and it's already got it accepted to like 5 or 6 festivals. So usually the life of a short film can be a couple of years, sometimes 3 years, and it can go from festival to festival. And then working on on some things in the background, nothing solid, but hoping to get something in writing first, because that's the key. You have to start with a good story before you even start shooting something.
Definitely. Are you able to speak to that one that's making the rounds in the film festivals?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So
tell us a little bit about that project.
It's called Seeker, and it was written and directed by Victor Cavallero, and it basically tells a story. It's part of a saga, as we call our own bountyverse, bounty hunters, if you will, but modern times. And so this one, it's the latest entry on this saga, and it basically follows the story of a family who it's out for revenge. And so there's thriller, there's suspense, and then there's a big revelation. So it basically tells a story of a family looking for revenge. So.
Cool. Did you shoot it here in Oklahoma?
It was all filmed in Oklahoma, yeah.
Okay.
In 2 days.
Wow, that's cool. I think the film industry, so I know we talked a little bit about it last time we met, but it's like keeps growing and growing, right?
Yeah, since the last time we talked, now we have a film studio, Prairie Surf Media Studios.
Yeah.
And they brought in, some amazing, shows, most recently, Tulsa King.
Yep.
And so that's being filmed. Hopefully the second season is going to be filmed here again. And that's
already approved, I think.
It's already been greenlit. Yeah. So once you get a project that's been greenlighted, it's pretty much ready to go. Now they're just waiting for the scheduling. Make sure that they get all the actors and all of the talent as well. So hopefully that comes back. And I think this is a great time to be in Oklahoma, to be a filmmaker. If you're a writer, director, cinematographer, editor, or even if you just want to get involved in the business,
right.
Reach out to these companies, find out if they have internships, if they have any sort of programs, or or if any productions are needing for help.
Yeah. Have you toured the studios there? Have you
not
had
yet,
the opportunity?
not yet. We're hoping. Because, of course, COVID happened and all that. And so we weren't able to take our students last year. But we're hoping to have our students from the Institute this year around go to the studio, do a full tour with them.
Yeah, that was my next question. Because then you just kind of expose them to all the possibilities. And, like, this is what a studio actually looks like and everything. That's really cool.
And basically what we want really at the end of the day is, like, we're just, trying to spark something with these students. We're trying to just get them to the next step. And so once they go through our program, we're also partnered up with Dead Center University.
Yeah.
And so our students also get the opportunity to go to Dead Center University, which is a 2-day program that happens at the same time with their festival in June.
Okay.
And so they're also exposed to master classes from professional filmmakers, from filmmakers from out of town. Because, of course, Dead Center is way bigger. They've been around for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
And they just have all these connections with bigger filmmakers, and so our students are also able to go to their program and be able to, get their hands-on, experience, with all these filmmakers, and they have this 2-day university that basically teaches them more than just the technical aspect, but also how to get in the industry, how to go to film festivals, how to go to film networkings where they can sell their films and things like that.
Yeah, congratulations on that partnership, because that's really cool to be able to partner with Dead Center. You guys are supporting one another. Yeah. That's really cool. Do you guys go to any sort of information around auditions and stuff like that? Like, how do you submit if you're an actor or an actress, right? Like, what does that process look like? Because we're probably not as well versed as like someone that's like in California or New York to go to auditions, right?
Yeah. So right now, I think there's different talent agencies in town. Of course, Magna is one of the most known ones. And so if you're a actor that's wanting to get into the industry, submit your resume, your headshots to Magna Talent, and then sign up with them, and they become basically your agent. And once you get that first step, the next step is to get into classes, get into acting classes, get into production classes, because even if you want to be an actor, it's always good to be known, on other areas of filmmaking, maybe directing, maybe cinematography, and so that you're able to learn all the aspects of what's behind the camera, not just in front of the camera.
Got it. All right. So just, sort of mention again those key dates and where people can, get the tickets for the festival before we dive into the Oscars, because I want to talk about Oscars.
Yes, absolutely. So OKCine Latino Film Festival coming to you in March 4th and 5th. March 4th, you can buy your tickets at OKCine Latino. You can find us on Facebook, or also you can go to our Film Freeway page. That's where we're going to be selling our tickets, $20 a ticket. So, of course, Instagram as well, send us a message. We can send you the link. It's very easy to find tickets.
Okay. And I remember last time when we spoke, everything you viewed it online because it was everything that was happening. It was all the craziness in the world. But now it's like in person. You get to watch it on a big screen.
Yeah,
right?
I think we talked about this last time, that our festival was in 2020, March 6th, I believe. And then the following week, that's when everything shut down. Yeah. After that game, Thunder versus Jazz.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then everything just went, shut down after that. So our festival barely, we were able to have it, and then everything shut down. And then the next year, 2021, that's when we went virtual. And then last year, we just pushed it to March, and we went in person. But this year we're back to 100%. I think there's no COVID restrictions, so expect a lot of snacks and a lot of Coke products in there.
Cool, I like it. So let's talk about the Oscars. I think one of the ones that I saw that was sort of like heavy favored is called like Everything Everywhere.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, tell me about that, because it sounds interesting. That's as far as like the story and everything.
That's from the Daniels. So this is one of those couple directors, or duo directors, not couple. Yeah. That made this film. And actually, I read an article that say that when they first wanted to make this story, they researched a lot of films because they wanted to make a film that was going to be made for all the audiences that they knew. I mean, they knew that the time that we live on right now, everybody's on social media, short time span, and so they want to make something that was very like out there, something that was very artistic, but at the same time very entertaining. And so I think this film has all the elements. It has great story, it's got great character arcs, directing, cinematography, beautifully shot, the music, and of course, it has the actor that was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, doing a great comeback, and all these. I think this is the first time that also the Asian Americans or Asians are the most nominated in any Oscar ceremony.
Yeah, I think the main actress, or one of the main actors, is also favored, right? What's her name? Do you remember?
I forgot her name, but she's made some amazing films throughout her career, and of course, the Daniels, have made such an impact in all their festivals and all their bigger shows. So I think we're looking forward to the Oscars. We also have other films that are kind of like like tailing right behind them. So like Tar, We also have Top Gun Maverick.
Let's talk about that. What's it going to take for Tom Cruise to get an Oscar? Like, he jumps out of planes, he jumps like skyscrapers. What's the guy got to do to get an Oscar?
I think it's going to be the same thing with Brad Pitt. I mean, Brad Pitt has never gotten an Oscar for acting. So, if anything, I think Tom Cruise will get an Oscar for producing. With if Top Gun Maverick wins Best Picture.
What would you rate Top Gun? I thought Top Gun Maverick was pretty decent.
It's pretty good, yeah,
for being sort of like a remake, almost like a second part. Like, it's always like difficult to do that, to stay true to the original and not make it too cheesy.
Yeah, because it's really hard to make good sequels. I mean, you have a lot of films that.
Only a few,
like Avatar: Way of the Water. That was also a really good sequel.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick was also a really good sequel that's almost matching the first movie. So you only have a few of those, throughout the years. And of course, James Cameron has the most films on the top, like more money that they ever made on a movie. So
yeah, because if you think about like Coming to America, I don't think that the follow-up was as good. It's hard to do that, right?
It's really hard. Yeah, it's
even
really
the
hard.
Godfather series. Some people argue that after maybe the second one, they're not a fan. They always go like, okay,
the first and the second one are good. The third one you can skip, but it's also part of the trilogy, so you kind of have to watch him. It's like the Star Wars films. You got the Force Awakens and all the new ones that they made. So then some people are divided. They like the originals from the 70s and 80s, and then they don't like the ones from the 90s and early 2000s. And of course, you're gonna have. There's too many films now. There's too many outlets out there, so you kind of have to pick and choose. Your favorites.
Yeah, I was reading that the next film, supposedly Tom Cruise is gonna go to space.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
So if he doesn't win the Oscar by going to space, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, what's the guy got to do?
Exactly. Yeah. He's got to eat a raw fish in the cold, like Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So what are some of your favorites? That you're expecting to do good in the Oscars.
So it's really, really early to tell, but I definitely think that.
And we've got the list here too, if you want to
so
cheat.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think definitely is gonna get a lot of awards. I think the Banshees of Inisherin are gonna get a lot of awards because they also have awards for that category on editing, cinematography, and acting, both in the main leading category and also in the supporting category.
Okay.
But also good to note is that on the Banshees of Inisherin, they're also nominated for editing. So
really? Okay.
For the past, I can't remember, I think it was maybe 15 or 20 years, the Best Picture winner has also won the Best Editing
So
award.
those are two separate.
They're separate.
There's Best Picture and Best Editing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that. I always knew about Best Picture, but I just assumed that was involved
So
with
Best
editing.
Picture is basically the top award, right? And that one goes to the producers.
Got it.
Goes to the producers, the Best Picture award. Of course, the actor goes to the actor, the directing goes to the director, the writing goes to the writer, et cetera, right?
So Best Editing is more for the technical team.
Exactly. So you have your VFX, visual effects, you have your sound, you have your best song, and before we used to have film sound editing, and now they just combine it with sound.
Okay.
So now it's just best sound, which it's kind of sad for the music people because they used to have sound editing and also sound mixing, and now they just combine that category.
Okay.
But
Speaking about music, one person I'm excited for is Rihanna. She's nominated.
She's doing a comeback.
So I like that. I don't know what you thought about the song. Have you heard her song?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we went to see Wakanda Forever. I think that her song is really good. That one definitely has a good chance of winning. If Wakanda Forever wins anything, I think it's gonna be for song.
Yeah.
And definitely, there's other categories like I think Avatar: The Way of Water is definitely gonna win some. Visual effects because pretty much everything is virtual. The whole movie is virtual, it's CGI. So I think definitely that one's gonna get a award on the.
What are your thoughts on Elvis? Because Elvis, I was a fan. I thought that the guy did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Like even the way that he learned how to speak like Elvis, like his tone and everything, his singing.
I think that's gonna be a tough one because unlike Rami Malek, you remember Rami Malek? Mm-hmm. He did the movie, the Queen movie, and he didn't sing in that movie, and he still got the Oscar. So I think that to me was kind of like, well, it's great, he's doing awesome, but if it's not really singing, then it's the award really worthy, for an actor if you're not really singing for your character, So.
And I was reading, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was reading that the guy that played Elvis, that the vocal coach or whatever, right? It says that
Austin Butler.
it might be like a permanent thing
Yeah.
almost. Like he studied it so well that all of a sudden maybe he's stuck.
It's like every interview that he does, he now has the accent.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's pretty funny, right?
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
he stays in character. I mean, after doing it for so many years, it's like it's kind of hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I was reading, I was like, I don't know if that's true, if it's just a gimmick to try to get people more interested in the film. But
Yeah.
I thought he did really well. One of the things that I learned about Elvis was the whole thing about his manager not allowing him to go overseas because he couldn't travel overseas. So just think about that. How much that limited Elvis.
The limitations,
right?
because you remember, the Beatles blew up when they came to America, when they went overseas. Same thing happened to Queen. Same thing happened to the Stones. Pink Floyd. I mean, it's been amazing, to see and learn so many things, that could have been.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad story, right? The way it all ended, and also Lisa Marie Presley passed away recently.
Just recently, yeah.
So it's kind of a bummer too that she's not able to see if the film does win and everything. Like that's a big tribute.
I am glad
right?
though that she went to the premiere and that they were okay with the film and they loved the film. So that's always, it's always good, when you're making a film about somebody and they get to see the film or they get to approve the film. There's another film that also we had that we seen recently, Triangle of Sadness, which is from Swedish filmmaker. He won the Palme d'Or at Cannes just last year, and one of the lead actresses passed away as well, and she was like 28, 27 years old as well. Like just like a month after they premiered the film and they won and everything, and then she died. I mean, her career was just about to blow up, like the next big star, and then that happens. It happens sometimes to a lot of actors in the film industry.
Yeah. Would you say that we get all the films here to be able to go watch them? Because sometimes I feel like I see movies that are on the list for the Oscars, and I don't know if I've had the opportunity to go watch it.
It's hard because a lot of the films don't. They're so art house.
Yeah.
Like there's a film from Bill Nighy it's called Leaving. That film is I haven't seen it anywhere. It's definitely not going to be in any of the commercial movie theaters. If anything, it's going to come to the Museum of Arts or maybe Rodeo Cinema, which is our own art house district, which they have 2 venues. Shout out to them. They come and they have amazing films out there. Rodeo Cinema. So if you haven't checked out Rodeo Cinema, go check it out. It's amazing art house venue, and they screen films and. We're actually going to be screening, little plug right here. We're going to be screening one of our shorts programs that we did back in, I want to say 2019, 2018.
Okay.
It's called Mono Dose or Mono Part 2, which it was a program that we did with between 5 different filmmakers. And there's a storyline that kind of connects all of them. And so it's a lot of filmmakers, time to time, they do that when they have like different directors and they do different short films and they make it into a feature film. And so we're going to have a screening for the first part, which was 5 different filmmakers, and then one of those filmmakers nominated me, and so I was part of the second one, the second round, and then we're going to be screening this one February 10th at the Rodeo Cinema.
Cool. So that's an important tip, because I always wondered about that, because I always see these artsy films, right? And I'm like, I wish I could have saw that, because I think going to the actual cinema, seeing it on the big screen is a whole different experience than watching it at home.
Exactly.
Right?
Like one of those also is called After Sun. It's also a filmmaker from Europe, and of course that film it's hard to find here in the States, and it's a really good film, and its lead actor Paul Mescal is nominated for Best Actor as well. So it could be a big upset. He could take it away from Austin Butler, from the guy that played Elvis. So or it could be Colin Farrell. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one. The acting category is always the hardest one.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
What else do you sort of see? Any upsets or anybody that you think has sort of a shoe in? I
think the definitely Tar is definitely going to win for Best Actress. I think Kate Blanchett already has that one.
Got it locked in, huh?
That one that definitely is locked in.
Okay.
I think the Banshees of Inisherin could be the Best Picture, but it could be maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, I think it's going to be between those two. But I think Triangle of Sadness also. It's a really, really good film, and I don't know. It could be Steven Spielberg's year too. The Fablemans. That was also a very good film about film. So, that was
Yeah.
like his Roma. Every time a director makes a story about their life story, they're calling it their Roma. Like Alfonso Cuarón, when he did Roma, that was his Roma. So
Yeah. Okay. I think my vote's going to be for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It sounds cool.
Okay.
And I think, having that diverse cast is really cool. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think they have a good shot. I don't hear you supporting Top Gun Maverick.
I don't know. Top Gun Maverick is very, it's one of those things. I think it's a good film.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I love Tom Cruise, actor. His personal life. To me, it's
Sure.
it's whatever.
Same thing with music. You have like Kanye. People like his music, but then
the personal man. How do you separate those two, right? But
and do you separate
Yeah,
it? Right.
exactly.
That's a big question. I always struggle with that.
So yeah, definitely. Tom Cruise has some really amazing films, and I mean, he's pretty much saved Hollywood time and time again. With all these amazing blockbusters. With the Mission Impossibles, with Top Gun Maverick being the biggest box office ever since we had a pandemic. So
Yeah, and his budgets are always crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because he actually goes and gets like the actual planes and does the actual stunts and
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not a lot of CGI from what I understand.
a lot of it is like in person, like everything is like real. When there's a scene where he has to fly, he flies. When there's a scene where he has to be in a motorcycle, he's in a motorcycle. There's no stunt doubles. It's
And
Tom
yet
Cruise.
no Oscar. No Oscar. Come on.
Yeah, no Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to get a little controversial here,
Okay,
but
let's get into it.
are you familiar with ChatGPT?
I'm not.
No?
Not.
Okay, so ChatGPT sort of leverages AI and you can sort of ask it to do things and it takes all this data, right? All this information and it spits out. Think about like a Google search, but it gives you a final product.
Yeah.
Right?
I heard, and the first time I heard about it, it was a story that I saw where a student did a paper. I don't know if you heard about this story.
Yeah.
Where a student made an essay about, it was an ex subject or whatever, he basically made 100 on this paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously the teacher is like, yeah, but I mean, you cheated,
But how can she prove it?
Exactly, right? Well, it turns out that they called him out on this and they started having a debate, about, what's honest and what's not. And then they asked their AI to get to give his 2 cents, and they started having a debate with AI, with artificial intelligence on this. Like it just blows my mind, the way where things are going now.
Yeah. So I've been hearing rumblings that that's been used in Hollywood for a long time now.
Yeah.
And that some movies actually use that sort of thing to write out some of the scripts.
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
You think so?
that's what Netflix is doing. The algorithm in Netflix, all these movies that they come out with is because, all over, they started, I don't know if you heard this story, but House of Cards, you remember it was one of the biggest hits for
Definitely.
Netflix when they started. So basically they started out with DVDs, remember?
Yeah.
And so they started taking all this data of all the people that started, like, oh, they're liking trailers, they're liking, this actor and this actress, and oh, they like this location, they like this type of, cinematography. So they kind of got all these different, analytics, and they kind of just, got them all together, and then they spit it out, House of Cards.
Wow.
And so, that the algorithm, everything that you're watching right now, everything on your phone, everything that you're subscribing to, that's pretty much, what these, companies are doing with all your data.
Yeah,
They're mining your
pretty
data.
impressive. I played with it a little bit, and you can say, "Hey, write me a movie that's a romantic comedy that's based in Adam Sandler's style or something," and it'll give you something that's like pretty remarkable. It's pretty good.
I believe that. Yeah,
and it's like
absolutely.
the first version that we get. So just imagine how it's going to get better
in a
and
couple of
better,
years. Yeah.
right?
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I would do it. I mean, I would use it.
Yeah.
because that's one thing. I always get writer's block. I start writing, or I want to write something, and it's like, okay, it's always hard. Like, okay, where does it go from here? And it's like that, creative, blockness. How do you get past that?
Yeah, but I compare it to music, right? Because in music, you can make electronic music where everything's on beat, everything's sequenced, but it loses that human art form, right? Where something like, if you listen to a live band, it's going to swing a little bit. You feel that human are playing this live. It's different.
It's like the Beatles. Right? They used to record all together at once, everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the studio at the same time, and if they didn't like something, they will go in there and then just redo it, the whole thing. Nowadays, they're just, patching, like, the
Right.
drummer comes in, then the bassist, and then the
They
guitar.
don't even have to be in the same city. They could be like the drummers at home and just send me your drums, and then the keyboards over here, send me your keyboard. Like
Same thing when they do, like these collaborations, like when, most recently, Bad Bunny's album, he got all these guest artists. What happened? They send them the lyrics, and then just, the producer just gets them together.
Yeah.
Just edits them in.
Did you watch Kaleidoscope?
I've not.
You haven't?
No.
Okay. So that's interesting. We were talking about sort of the Netflix algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Do you understand, like, have you familiar with, like,
I heard about
sort
it.
of the basis?
It was
of
like the color base, right? That you could
Yeah.
watch it in any order.
Yep.
And then is there an episode that you have to save for the end?
I think the white one, I can't remember.
Okay.
It's been a while since I watched
Yeah.
it, but as long as you watch the ending, the color at the ending,
Yeah.
then everything. But what's interesting about that is depending on how you watch it,
Yeah.
you sort of get empathy for like a certain actor, or you understand the story differently
Yeah.
of like why they did it, and you justify
Okay.
sort of like why they did certain things.
I'm
It's
gonna
really
watch it all,
interesting.
everything all at once. I'm gonna put 9 TVs and then just watch them all at once.
They have like the Tarantino order.
Yeah, I heard.
They have like a chronological order, or you could just let like Netflix pick the algorithm
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, again,
It's interesting.
Netflix,
Yeah.
going with the algorithm. They know what you like and what you want to see.
Yeah, and there for a while, Netflix was struggling.
Yeah.
They were
think they
laying
still
off
are.
people. I think they are, but they're doing some creative stuff there. I just sort of question like how much is that like human driven and how much is that AI driven?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Skynet, man.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're on board, and as long as you use it as a tool,
Yeah.
right? Like I think you could use it maybe as a basis,
Yeah.
and then maybe you could tweak it,
Of course,
or
and make it more
something.
personal, add things, take things,
Yeah.
I always, say this to my students is like a film, it's basically written 3 times, when you write it the first time, when you film it on set, because
Mm-hmm.
you improvise and you change lines, and then when you edit, because the editor can change things around and they can move things and make it better.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, that's a cool way of
So
thinking.
that's
it.
why the editor award is very important to get Best Picture. So watch out whenever you see the Best Editing Award at the Oscars.
There you go. Okay,
That could be a good, telling of who's going to win Best Picture.
got it.
Don't tell them I tell you this.
Do you have like a watch party? Like I bet, like kind of how I watch the Grammys, you probably watch the Oscars, right?
Every year, yeah.
Tell
every
me
year.
about that. You just like,
Yeah, we get it together with a couple of friends, and then we just kind of make our own, little, trivia, and of course,
yeah, predictions. And everybody writes their
Yeah,
own predictions
yeah.
and stuff. That's
Yeah,
cool.
there was a year that I got all 100% predictions.
No way.
1 year. And then,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Maybe you can incorporate, I don't know, I'm trying to think how you can incorporate that into the festival, but
Yeah.
timing might be a little tricky.
It is a little tricky.
But
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So tell me, if someone wants to like get involved with,
Oh,
you know,
wait,
maybe,
we're not going to talk about like upcoming movies. What's your most anticipated movie of the year?
geez. I don't even know, to be honest. Like, I'm trying to think of what I would want. I don't know, to be
So
honest.
Nolan is coming out with a movie. I think that's my most anticipated film of the year.
Yeah.
And that one's gonna be coming out in June, I believe. So
Okay.
looking forward to. I mean, everything Christopher Nolan does is it's big. It's
Yeah.
very showy. So
I read where 2023 is gonna like be one of the biggest sort of movie releases. Like
Yeah.
all the sort of like special characters, like everything that's lined up. We need to pull it up. Maybe we should
go
pull
ahead.
it up.
Go ahead.
Let's see.
Yeah, because I
projects
think,
that are coming out.
Yeah,
huh?
exactly. Because I think also like we have now Peacock, we have Paramount Plus, we have all these different big companies that now have their own streaming services. Let's see.
Megan is an interesting one.
That
What did
one's
you think
good.
about that one?
I haven't seen it yet, but
Yeah.
I've seen all the reviews, and I do want to see it. It's on the list, of course, but it's one of those films that you have to kind of put on the back burner, so you can watch, the more, like talked about films and the more artsy films.
It reminds me of like a modern day Child's Play.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I heard, yes, it's definitely one of those. Let's see. So one of the ones that I'm looking forward to, of course, we have, this, Apple TV, Severance. I don't know if you've seen Severance on Apple TV.
It's
really
good. Yeah.
The new Ted Lasso, of
Yeah.
course. The John Wick movie that's coming out, of course, that's going to be really good.
Another Scream movie.
Another screen. We can't get
that's,
enough.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. Mario. That was
Okay.
going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to that for sure. Let's see.
I bet there's going to be a Fast and the Furious. There's like, I don't know how many already, but they just keep getting
I think this is going to be our last Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's going to be the last one that probably James Gunn does on the Marvel universe before he stars the new DC universe.
What did I tell you? Fast X coming.
That's the one they're going to go in space.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So definitely that one's going to be a good. Let's see.
And of course, you got the Spider-Mans, the Ant-Mans. You've got like all the superheroes coming out.
I'm looking for the Flash.
Okay.
Because there's so many controversy behind, Ezra Miller and, all of the scenes. I don't know if you follow DC Universe. Henry Cavill got fired. Pretty much Wonder Woman got fired. The Black Adam sequel is not going to be made anymore. So all of the Snyderverse very much is crumbling right now. So I don't think we're gonna get that movie, but looking forward to the Flash.
Indiana Jones.
That's gonna be good.
That's gonna be good.
The Dial of Destiny. Yeah. Let's see. It's gonna be a new Insidious. That one's gonna be good. This one, Mission Impossible.
My boy Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Coming in for
and
for a nomination here.
So basically, this one is gonna be part 1 and part 2, and they filmed them back to back. So the first one's gonna be coming out in July, and the next one's gonna be coming out later. But the one that I'm looking for is Oppenheimer.
I was going to say Barbie.
Oh, Barbie. Barbie's going to be really good. Let's talk about that one. So Greta Gerwig, one of the most amazing female directors of our time, is coming out with the crazy idea of remaking Barbie to the mass audiences. And
Ryan Gosling.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. My main crush. Right? My boy, Ryan Gosling, man.
There we go.
So that one's going to be good. Looking forward to that one. But Oppenheimer, man, that one's going to be definitely good.
So be on the lookout. July.
On the lookout for Oppenheimer. That's going to be. The rumor said that Christopher Nolan wanted to actually get an atomic bomb.
No way.
The rumors, of course, but it's not true. It's not true.
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that one's definitely going to be a good one. My kids are going to love that for sure. They love Ninja Turtles. Let's see. Netflix comes out with a movie every Friday. I mean, that's crazy. The way they pull out movies. I mean, it's
HBO's been doing really good too with their releases.
How about this one? Equalizer.
Yeah.
Denzel, man, my man Denzel.
Denzel coming back finally.
Another Exorcist movie, man. Can't get enough of Exorcist.
You think that's gonna involve sort of some of the people that were involved with the same original?
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. Probably not. Yeah. So and then another Saw movie.
Nice.
Dune. I'm looking forward to Dune too. Part 2. Yes.
Yeah, that's got to be cool for sure. And Zendaya out there. Come on, you can't go wrong.
Yep. Yeah. And of course, my man Aquaman.
There we go.
That's gonna be good
for the ladies. Once again.
Ladies, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, man, 2023 is gonna be crazy for movie releases. It's just like every month is like stacked with all these crazy.
And then December, Wonka. The Willy Wonka.
Nice. Okay.
With Timothée Chalamet. Yeah, that one's going to be good. But yeah, man, I think 2023 is going to be filled with movies. I think they're just, everything that could have come out during the pandemic kind of got, held back. And now they're just going to start releasing these amazing films in 2023. And TV shows. The TV shows are coming, they're really high up there too. They're really good shows. Yeah,
I feel like a sort of TV series, every episode is almost like the same budget as a movie. It gets crazier and crazier.
Last of Us. Have you seen Last of Us?
Yes, so good.
Every episode, man. That opening sequence is so good, man. I actually have to go back and I just watch the opening sequence, the flashbacks from before the virus started. So that's kind of been our.
I mean, Game of Thrones. Every episode there was crazy budget. I mean, it just gets crazier.
Yeah,
lots of excitement in the film industry.
It is. You have to get into the film industry. Now is the time.
Yeah. All right. So we are getting sort of the signal here that we hit our mark. We could go on and on and on. Yeah. We definitely have to, bring you back. Maybe we could do it live like we did last year.
Absolutely.
Just as a little reminder for the people. But like before we sign off, just give us, a plug once again. Yeah. What are those key dates? Where can people get the tickets?
Yeah. So, you can get your tickets on Film Freeway or just go to our social medias on Facebook and Instagram at OKCine Latino. And you can buy tickets for the March 4 event. And then on the 5th, on Sunday, it's going to be free at the Capitol Hill Library.
All right, there you have it, man. I feel like we should start like a film podcast.
We do. There's not enough time.
Always not enough time. Always a pleasure to have you. Yeah. So thank you once again. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The iconic Rogelio Almeida right here on the Maverick Podcast. Keep grinding because in dreams we trust.